What's going on, everyone? Today we've got another Xbox 360 up for sale. And here is an all-white Xbox 360 Falcon that I kind of cut my finger and just rolled with it. Now, this is a metal cast anodized red paint. Really like using this for like blood effects. You can kind of get it to clump up in certain areas, and it just literally looks like clotting blood. It's all paint. We started with a gloss white on everything, and we did the blood splatter on top. Tried to make it heavier as it goes down, adding some misting. Same thing on the vents. Up here we've got mostly white, few drops, and we'll show the bottom here in a second. There we go. And it can be upright or horizontal, but I'm just going to leave it upright for right now. A matching controller, same paint job, front and back, clear battery. Got some all red buttons there, triggers and bumpers, red chrome front. Board in here was somebody else's for several years, RGH3 Falcon. The GPU is a RIA HTG 130 so pretty much the best one you can get on a Falcon. And it has run great for them the whole time they've had it. I'm assuming they weren't the ones that did the RGH mod. Everything looked great there. However, I assume before he tried to sell it, he just added a bunch of thermal paste, and I mean literally like a tube of thermal paste on each chip. So we took it apart, obviously did a full clean. Initially, this was not getting water cooled, this board, so it just got clean, new thermal paste, heat sinks, everything. Then we decided to water cool it, and I'm going to show you another water cooled build that you can see some stuff a little bit better. But down here you can see the CPU water block, some Enzotech fittings, and I'll just kind of have to explain how the loop works. We had a lot of room to work with, having the pump reservoir up top. This is the XSPC Ion Pump Reservoir Combo. It's my first time using this pump. I've done lots of variations of water-cooled 360s with other pumps, so I was a little worried about this one, but it actually works awesome. Great flow, very quiet. You have a kind of one-way mirror film over the window. This little line here and kind of texture there, that's just where the acrylic ends, right here where the pump is. And it's obviously in red, but I also had a white one that's just a reservoir, and just threw the end caps on there, thought it looked good. Essentially you have a port like this on the other side, here and here. This is where the pump pumps the water out. It comes down right into the CPU block, comes out of there, goes down here through our Primo Chill Vortex flow meter. It then comes out of the flow meter, goes into our dual 50mm Alpha Cool radiator, goes through that, goes straight into the GPU block, comes out of the GPU block and wraps all the way around. It goes behind the flow meter, all the way back up into our reservoir. Pretty much standard Alpha Cool, XSPC, Enzotech, Primo Chill, all that kind of stuff. The blocks are, of course, a more generic that I could make fit. Another build I have here. So this is the GPU block, same one that's on the one we're selling. It's got ports on the side, and this one actually pretty much lines up already with the bracket that's on there. And the other block, which I guess you probably aren't going to be able to see, other block is slimmer and has the ports on the top and needs the brackets cut quite a bit with some new holes drilled to fit the 360 dimensions. If you're familiar with my builds for at least a little while now, you might know the Ruby Red build, and that one has the chrome faceplate. We sold that a while back. We swapped like the doors and power button over to that chrome faceplate. Now unfortunately this one is cracked at the top, and I had already planned on using the chrome faceplate on that other build before realizing this, but that's just unfortunate for old XCM ghost case stuff. They become fragile, brittle over time. These are very old parts, but our USB door works. Even though we have our USB, I got a slim one to fit behind there, so it doesn't have to be open and closed. So if you do want to mess with that, you will have to pop this off, but you don't have to worry about cracking it. I didn't want to glue this together. One, it's see-through, so you'll be able to see any sort of adhesive, but two, I mean, it's kind of better for taking it off now if you need to. Still from a brand new Ruby Red shell, so that just happened in shipping, and that is, like I said, pretty common. Now on our radiator on the back, this is just a magnetic filter. This is your intake, this is your exhaust, and yeah, I just happen to have this in a parts bin. The colors matched. Figured it'd be nice to slap on the back there. It's not the strongest magnet, but be nice for dust. Don't have to have it on there if you don't want. Go ahead and power it on. Besides the dryer running in the background, see how quiet it is. Again, for an RGH3 fat, which can be pretty finicky on if it actually works or not, this one, like I said, seems to work great. And especially when it's first plugged in, it pretty much boots up as fast as my Zero fuse. And it can vary, it's not super consistent, but like I said, this was pretty much the fastest it'll boot up. The longest I've had to wait maybe 5 to 10 seconds. If it's just been shut off, it'll take a little bit longer, but otherwise seems to boot up pretty quickly. Like I said, we've got a flash drive up front here. It's kind of just a bonus. Obviously, you still have your USB port on the back if you don't want to mess with the front at all. You can put a second flash drive in there, you can put a different one in there, whatever you want to do. This one is a 250 gigabyte, and we've got some stuff on here to get you started. We got Angry Birds, Assassins, Batman, Resident Evil. Still gotta download the cover on that one. Crisis, Deadpool, Diablo, Doom, Fallout, Far Cry, Fight Night, Gears of War, Grand Theft Auto. Now, you can set the fans to 100%. They are not super loud. You can hear them, I guess, at 100%, but I have it currently set to just a temperature range. Everything is at 45 Celsius, and that's the temperature, as I said. With the fans on just kind of normal, it usually caps around 50. This room is a little bit cooler, I guess. It might go a little higher, but at full 12 volts, it seems to cap around 45, 46. And that LED you can kind of see now that the system is on. And you can kind of see that water block through there as well. An all-white ring of light and power light. The ring sort of has that red anodized paint to it, so it looks a little more pink. And then we've got this whole window lighting up. Bright red LED up top, white one on the bottom, but it actually looks red. Include an extra fitting with a bit of tubing on it just to help top it off or fill or drain. Say you probably shouldn't have to mess with it for quite some time other than maybe having to top it off. So this has the same fluid that is in the Vader build over there. It's a Mayhem's Nuke UV Red. Obviously there's not really any spots you're going to see the color. Whatever you put in there is pretty much going to look red due to the window here. See at least one of the noise blockers there on the radiator. So it's drawing air in here, blowing it out the side. Go ahead and load something up here. We'll just land on, there we go. Do one more. There we go. Alright, but yeah, you shouldn't even have to mess with the coolant. I don't like using any of that like glittery stuff or anything like that to gum anything. It's just like a clear coolant, but I also recommend just distilled water. Great budget option, but also it works just as good as a lot of the other fluids, sometimes even better. As long as you make sure it's distilled water. I've had systems with just that in it sit for literally up to 2 years, and everything's fine. So I think that is basically everything on here. This of course comes with the system, the flash drive, controller, 175 watt power supply, a little vial of blood. If this would be your first modded system or first time water cooling or anything like that, I honestly wouldn't recommend picking this up. At the time of me filming this, we still have this one available for sale. We just listed earlier. This is an Opus, emphasis on the O. Got my other videos, we got some other cool stuff in the works. Yes, that's a 200mm fan inside an Xbox. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. As always, there will be a pinned comment with the eBay link, or you can always contact me directly through Instagram or TikTok using Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and we can get you pretty close to about $100 off. That's it. We'll see you in the next video. I lied. One more thing. We're going to show it horizontally. I forgot to do that because it can be upright or horizontal. I'm not going to try that with one hand. And now that we have left it plugged in, oh boy, that was a close one. We can see it takes a little bit longer to boot, or not. Still got a little bit of air in there. I'm going to have to top it off a little bit before it gets shipped out. Of course, if you are overseas or just outside of the 48 states, you will have to pay the difference in shipping, whether you go through eBay or not. They have their own international shipping. To be fair, it'll probably have to be completely drained if it goes overseas. Anyway, that's it. Again, we'll see you in the next video.